Your Toyota is locked out of up to 15% hidden throttle response, and I've got the scan tool data to prove it. Last week, a customer spent $900 chasing sluggish acceleration that a 2-minute reset could have fixed. After 20 years working on Toyotas and watching dealers upsell what drivers never needed, I'm done keeping quiet. Today, I'm exposing the one Toyota mod they're quietly restricting to keep control in their hands, not yours. Stick around. The final mod costs nothing, and it's why I've seen Toyotas cross 400,000 miles still running strong. Let's uncover what they don't want you to use. Illegal mod number 5. Boost MPG up to 15% with this throttle. Reset. Most Toyota owners don't realize their car is quietly relearning bad driving habits every single day. I see it all the time in the workshop. A Toyota Camry or Toyota RAV4 comes in with no faults, no warning lights, but the driver complains about poor mileage and sluggish response. Last month, a customer with a Toyota RAV4 was averaging just 24 miles per gallon in city driving, well below the EPA estimate of around 27 miles per gallon. Nothing was mechanically wrong. The issue was that the ECU had adapted to years of stop-start traffic, short trips, and inconsistent throttle input. Here's the fix most dealerships won't mention. You can reset your Toyota's throttle and adaptive learning in under 5 minutes, and it costs absolutely nothing. Disconnect the negative battery terminal for about 10 to 15 minutes, then reconnect it. Turn the ignition on without starting the engine for 30 seconds. Then start the car and let it idle for another 5 minutes without touching the gas. That's it. You've just cleared years of confused throttle mapping. What happens next is where things change. The ECU starts fresh. No more overcompensating when you press the pedal. No more delayed response that makes you press harder than needed. Drivers usually notice smoother acceleration within the first 10 miles, and over the next 100 to 200 miles, fuel economy begins to improve. I've seen gains of 3 to 5 miles per gallon on models like the Toyota Camry, and even more noticeable improvements on hybrids like the Toyota Prius when driven properly. Now here's the honest mechanic truth. That full 15% improvement only happens if your driving habits were already hurting the car. If you drive aggressively after the reset, the ECU will relearn that behavior and the gains will drop. It's not creating efficiency, it's restoring what was already lost. And sometimes, that reset is all your Toyota really needs. Illegal mod number 4. Disable auto start-stop permanently. Pull up to any red light in a modern Toyota and you'll feel it. The engine shuts off, then restarts a few seconds later. Most drivers think it's saving fuel, and yes, on paper it does. The United States Environmental Protection Agency estimates start-stop systems can improve fuel economy by about 3% to 5% in city driving. But here's what they don't tell you in the real world. I see the long-term effects in the workshop. Starters wearing out earlier than expected. Batteries struggling, especially after 2 to 3 years. One customer last month had to replace an AGM battery at around 40,000 miles, costing nearly $280. Another had a starter issue just past 70,000 miles. These systems are designed for frequent cycling, yes, but that doesn't mean they're stress-free. If you made it this far, then consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Now here's the part most Toyota owners don't realize. Every time your engine shuts off, oil pressure drops to 0. When it restarts, there's a brief moment, even if it's milliseconds, where critical parts like camshafts and bearings aren't fully lubricated. Over thousands of cycles, that wear adds up, especially in stop-and-go traffic, where the system might activate 15 to 25 times in a single commute. So what can you do? The simple method most drivers use is pressing the auto start-stop off button every time they start the car. But let's be honest, that gets annoying fast. The better solution is using a memory module. These small plug-and-play devices cost around $20 to $40 and connect behind your dashboard or switch panel. Once installed, They remember your last setting, turn it off once, and it stays off permanently. Installation usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes. No cutting wires, no advanced tools. I've installed dozens in Toyotas, and they work reliably without triggering warning lights. It's one of those upgrades that instantly makes the car feel more natural to drive. Honestly, disabling start-stop won't transform your car overnight. You might lose that 3% fuel saving in heavy traffic, but in return, you reduce strain on your starter, battery, and engine components. For many drivers, that trade-off is worth it. Manufacturers keep pushing this feature for emissions targets, not because it's always best for long-term durability, and that's why more drivers are choosing to quietly turn it off and keep it that way. Illegal mod number 3. Enable Sport Mode. By default, start up most modern cars, and what do you get? A soft, delayed throttle, early upshifts, and a car that feels half asleep. That's not your engine being weak. That's the default eco or normal mode, holding things back. Toyota programs it this way to meet fuel economy targets and emission standards, not because it's the best way for your engine to respond. Now here's what most drivers don't realize. When you switch to sport mode, you're not adding horsepower. The engine still makes the same power. What changes is how quickly that power is delivered. Throttle mapping becomes sharper, transmission shift points hold gears longer, and the car responds instantly instead of hesitating. In real terms, I've measured throttle response improving by around 10% to 15% just by switching modes on vehicles like the Camry 2.5-liter and RAV4 2.5-liter. But here's the annoying part. Every time you restart the car, it resets back to normal or eco mode, so you have to press that sport button again and again. Most people forget, and they spend 90% of their driving time stuck in a dull, restricted setup. In the workshop, I've had customers complain their Toyota feels slow or unresponsive. No fault codes, no issues. First thing I do? Switch it to sport mode and tell them to drive. The reaction is always the same. Why didn't it feel like this before? That's because the car is finally responding the way it should have from the start. Now, let's talk about how to make this permanent. Some Toyota models allow limited customization through the vehicle settings menu, but most don't save drive mode preferences. That's where a simple aftermarket solution comes in. Small plug-in modules, usually costing between $30 and $60, can be installed behind the drive mode selector or OBD port. These modules remember your last mode. Set it to sport once, and it stays there every time you start the car. Installation takes about 10 to 20 minutes. No cutting, no complex wiring, just plug and play. I've installed these on multiple Toyotas, and they work cleanly without triggering any warning lights or affecting reliability. Now here's the honest mechanic advice. Sport mode will slightly reduce fuel economy if you drive aggressively. You might see a drop of around 1 to 2 miles per gallon in city driving. But if you drive smoothly, the difference is minimal, and the improved control is worth it. This isn't about making your car faster on paper. It's about removing that artificial delay Toyota builds in. Once you experience your car in sport mode all the time, going back feels like something is broken. And that's exactly why they don't make it the default. Illegal mod. Number 2. Disable seatbelt chime system. Override. Do you ever feel annoyed by that constant repeating chime if the seatbelt isn't fastened? Now don't get this wrong. Seatbelts save lives. No debate there. But the way Toyota programs the chime system can be excessive, especially in low-speed situations like moving the car in a driveway, parking lot, or job site where you're stopping every few seconds. I see this complaint a lot in the workshop. Drivers say the car feels like it's nagging them constantly. One customer who uses his Tacoma for site work told me the chime goes off 20 to 30 times a day while repositioning the truck. Over time, it just becomes frustrating. And here's the thing most people don't know. The system can actually be adjusted or disabled in many Toyota models, but it's buried deep in settings or requires a specific sequence. In some older Toyotas, there's a manual method. Turn the ignition on, buckle and unbuckle the seatbelt about 20 times within 30 seconds, and the system toggles the chime setting. It sounds strange, but it works on certain models. Newer Toyotas don't make it that easy. The setting is locked behind dealership-level diagnostic tools, meaning most drivers are told it can't be changed. Now here's where things get interesting. There are small, OBD-based devices, usually priced around $25 to $50, that plug into your car and allow you to access these hidden settings. Using apps paired with tools like OBD adapters, you can disable or reduce the seatbelt chime without affecting the actual seatbelt function. The safety system still works. The reminder just stops being overly aggressive. Installation takes less than 5 minutes. Plug the device into the OBD port, connect it to your phone, and adjust the setting. I've done this for plenty of customers who needed a quieter cabin for specific use cases, and it works without triggering warning lights or errors. Now, here's the honest mechanic perspective. This is not something you should disable for everyday driving on public roads. The chime is there for a reason, but in controlled environments like private property, farms, or work sites, having the flexibility makes sense. Manufacturers lock these settings to meet strict safety regulations, not because the system can't be adjusted. Once you understand how it works, you realize it's not about removing safety. It's about having control over how your car behaves in real-world situations. Illegal mod number 1. Remove Eco Mode, throttle restrictions. Drive any Toyota in Eco Mode, and you'll notice it right away. You press the pedal, and the car hesitates before moving. That delay isn't a problem with your engine. It's programmed behavior. Toyota softens throttle response in Eco Mode to improve fuel economy and reduce emissions. But in doing that, it holds back how quickly your engine reacts. I see this all the time. Drivers come in thinking something is wrong with their car because it feels slow off the line. No warning lights, no faults. The car is working exactly as designed. Eco Mode can reduce throttle sensitivity by around 10% to 20%, especially at lower speeds. That means you end up pressing the pedal more just to get normal acceleration, which defeats the purpose in real-world driving. Here's the simple fix. Turn Eco Mode off. Most Toyotas have a dedicated button near the gear selector or on the dashboard. Switch to normal or sport mode, and the throttle mapping immediately becomes more responsive. The difference is noticeable within the first few minutes of driving. The car feels lighter, quicker, and easier to control in traffic. Now, if you want this behavior all the time, some drivers use small plug-in modules similar to throttle controllers that override eco mapping and keep the car in a more responsive mode by default. These usually cost between $40 and $80 and install in about 10 minutes. No cutting, no permanent changes. You might lose around 1 to 3 miles per gallon in city driving if you keep Eco Mode off all the time. But in return, you get predictable acceleration and better control, especially during overtakes or merging. Toyota builds Eco Mode for test cycles, not real-world comfort. Once you remove that restriction, the car finally responds the way most drivers expect it to. If you enjoyed this video, do watch the next one, as I'm sharing why experienced drivers buy older Toyota models to save thousands of dollars. See you in the next one.